We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. So I saw a video clip from Fresh and not Fresh and Clips, Fresh and Fit that popped up on my timeline. And they have started doing this call-in show where they have haters call in or people who have sought their advice and how it's been going for them. It's just a normal call-in show. It's merging the AM radio call-in show or Opie and Anthony call-in type show with the modern era of the internet, YouTube, Rumble, so on and so forth. And this particular time, or this particular clip that we're going to watch, there was a kid who called in and was expressing his loneliness, his newfound loneliness after making these vast changes in his life for the better. He essentially went from a lifestyle of partying, drinking, perhaps doing drugs, who knows, very rough, fast lifestyle. He turned it around. He's been going to the gym. He's employed. He's working. He's on his grind. He's on his hustle. And also he either he got broken up with or broke up with his girlfriend. Hopefully hopefully he broke up with the girlfriend, not the other way around. I think it's actually the first one that the girlfriend broke up with him, but I digress. He decided to make these changes and he is experiencing and has found it to be lonely. That the path of improvement and purpose and being on your grind and on your hustle has led to some loneliness. And I wanted to touch upon this because I have discussed this in a previous video. The title of the video, I think, was "Being a Man is a Lonely Existence," or being a man is lonely, is a lonely experience. And the reason why I wanted to play this clip is to vindicate that video. And before I play it, I want you guys to understand that when I say this, it is with a few motivations in mind. Okay, there's a few points that I am expressing or hoping to convey. One is the utter and sheer toughness that is the male experience, the life of a man. In particular, when a man hits adulthood, manhood. The fact is, there's just a lot of people in the modern society, modern Western society, who just simply do not understand this. And they think that men and women are interchangeable widgets. They think that what men do is not that spectacular, that it's not that difficult, that anybody can do it, so on, so on, and so on. I would I would add that this mindset, while the feminist push is definitely what has attributed to it, the main theology that has led to this is this materialistic, socialistic. I know those two things are kind of categorically opposite, but if you read any sort of socialistic doctrine, the materialism and capitalistic world is a means to an end. It's a means to fulfill or ultimately bring about this one world government, globalist, socialist state. Okay. Jay Dyer has talked about this. And so, it's kind of funny when you have these libertarians or conservatives, or neocons rather, not all conservatives, but neocons rather, who always want to touch upon the idea of freedom and capitalism mainly as this amazing golden implementation or theological idea or ideal. And just like anything in life, it can be weaponized. And Karl Marx, actually, the fulfillment of the society that he envisioned in his manifesto is categorically pretty much a libertarian society where you don't own anything. It's all given up to the state. And the government pretty much runs everything, but there are no borders. There is no property rights or anything like that. Now, I know within libertarianism, there is kind of leftist libertarianism versus right-wing libertarianism. And I do acknowledge that those things are different, but I just want to make the point that Karl Marx, the ending point of Karl Marx forward thinking was this kind of libertarian society. So the bottom line is capitalism has been weaponized. It can be weaponized. And what you get is the whole reason I started to talk about this is you get this society with these theological viewpoints that are not biblical in nature, that are not Christian in nature, that have this kind of naturalistic evolutionist, Big Bang Theory laden worldview, where people are interchangeable widgets. Men and women are not different. They're essentially the same. You can plug and play any one of them, and it makes no difference. If you're going to build up a skyscraper or whatever the fuck the case is, you can throw a woman in there just as easily as you could throw a man in there. Okay. And that ultimately is what led to feminism and what has led to this society that we are currently in, where men and women are seen as interchangeable widgets. But of course, that is not the case. As an Orthodox Christian myself, I fully acknowledge biblically and spiritually that there is an order to things. Fresh and Fit commonly talk about it, that it's God above man, man above women, and woman above children. Now, I know to some that that's maybe hard to stomach and hard to come to terms with, but this kind of thinking is what has led to this modern feministic society that we have. So my final point to the number one thing that I was pointing out here is that contrary to the mainstream belief, men and women are actually very different. And I think many young men fall into the trap of thinking that men and women are different. And this is going to lead into my second point, which is when they look at the landscape, when they're growing up in the school system, elementary, middle school, high school, hell, even college, if they do attend college, even though men increasingly are not attending college because they realize the sham that it is, and it's basically this man-hating entity. But they grow up with all of this propaganda being pushed upon them, and they survey the landscape, and they kind of, even though their instinct is telling them differently, they think, well, yeah, but men and women are the same. And the same type of life that a woman can lead, I can lead too. And of course, that is not the case. And that leads me to my second point, which is that you just need to come to terms with this fact that as a man, you will experience expressly different circumstances than a woman would, and vice versa. You are not the same. So some of the differences that I'm talking about is women get all of their value early on in their lives, whereas men have to earn said value later in life. Women can kind of naturally, especially when we're talking about this loneliness factor, women can kind of just be and naturally be welcomed into various social circles and social groups just by way of them being a female. Whereas for a man, that's not the case. A man, you are not going to have that. I mean, I wouldn't say that this is always the case, especially in the school system, but especially when you're an adult, you are not going to have that unless one, you are completely willing to set aside your goals and aspirations, or two, you have already gained those goals and aspirations and are at the top of the mountain and are getting some of that attention because you have your value that you have gained that I was talking about early when I began this point. So the thing is that even though men at a young age look around and say to themselves, well, due to the propaganda that they listen to, that, well, I guess I am the same as a female, and they kind of take on the same expectations. And the expectations that I'm talking about is that they should have these massive social circles like females have. But the thing is, you're not a female. You don't have the value that that female currently has at this point in her young life. Just by way of her being a female, she will be welcomed into social groups. And not just that, but women do have better skills, better natural skills at facilitating and implementing social circles for themselves and for others. So I know that was a long drawn out way of saying that men have it all wrong. And you should not be expecting to have this vast social circle that you see women have, because you're a man. You're not going to have that. Now, that's not me saying that as a man, you should not try to build connections and build, business relationships with people, especially people who are higher level than you and have things that they can teach you and provide you with knowledge of the world. Absolutely, that's the case. You should absolutely pursue that. But it's not the same as what a female would do. A female would do that largely out of personal desire, whereas as a man, you're largely doing it for your career, to as a means to an end for your goals and aspirations for yourself. All right. So I want men to get out of this female minded thinking that they are supposed to have this massive social circle like women have, because that's not the case. And once men start to realize this, which they used to always know, once they realize this, the hurt that this guy that I'm about to show the video experiences will not hurt as much, because when you know the truth and know what's coming, you're better equipped to handle it when you do come across it. So let's check out this video here of this kid. And I commend this kid for being honest and transparent about what's going on with him. Millions of people listening to this, so let's check it out. By the way, this is from Law of Distraction. I saw that Law of Distraction linked up with Sneeko. Looks like they're going to be collabing in the future. Maybe someday in the future, once my channel gets big enough, we'll be able to hop on all this shit and really get this thing rolling. But all right, let's check this out. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because I want to get to the juicy part about him saying that he's lonely, so on and so on.
You need to make new friends. You need to have a brotherhood, my friend. That will help you with easing the pain from.
But it's hard for me to handle these little things that happen, like little wins I get in my life, and I want to call somebody. I want to tell somebody, and I have nobody to call, and I just want to know what
You need a group of male
would you
friends,
guys.
bro. You need a group of male friends.
I,
That's what you
I
need.
cut them off.
I know exactly what he's talking about there. When I was going through my early college years, I was still in a relationship that I had gotten into from high school. And, you know, women have a great way of tricking you, especially if you don't know the game as well as you should as a man, into kind of accepting the way that they want things to go and how they want the relationship to go. Which again is not very masculine. You know, you need to know your worth as a man and know your boundaries and know what is the best for the relationship because you are the leader of the relationship. Now, for me, it was more out of ignorance rather than out of a lack of masculinity. But suffice it to say, we ended up breaking up. But when we were in a relationship, she would be the one that I called to share the positive things that happened in my life. You know, I still did have my dad and my grandfather and my best friend who was a guy that I knew from high school. And there were various guys, you know, I was playing collegiate water polo and I still did have some guys to talk with. But the primary person that I was sharing those types of things with at a high level or voluminous level was my girlfriend at the time. And when that relationship ended, it was very difficult to find to find again because I once had it and then I lost it when I was in the relationship, but to find it again once the relationship was over, that internal desire for greatness, for betterment of myself, regardless of praise and a shoulder to cry on or to smile on. So I completely know what he is talking about. And I think that that is why a lot of guys are turned into simps because they they don't go through the process enough and they end up cutting the corner and either getting back with that girl because they can't deal with the pain of the breakup and figuring out how to be alone and how to stand on your own 2 feet as a man. And so they go back to their crutch or they quickly enter in to another relationship that they can do the exact same things they were doing in the first place.
Fun to me after I called in.
You need to make new
found the clip,
friends.
and
You need to make new friends that are guys that got their shit together, that are ambitious. You need to make new friends. You need to have a brotherhood, my friend. That will.
So let me tell you a few quick ways that you can do that in media. I don't think that it's as easy as Fit is saying, as Myron is saying. I do think that you have to just start the process of betterment, and those types of results will come. Okay. The problem is that this kid is still early on in his process that he's not seeing the fruits of his labor yet or his work ethic. But some of the ways that you can immediately insert yourself into an environment with other male individuals, church would be one. Two, but church is tough though because you also have a lot of men that are in marriages or are dating a girl seriously, and so it's not that easy to have that masculine circle, purely masculine circle that you are searching for, because a lot of guys unfortunately take their girl everywhere because they think that their girl is one of the boys when that's fucking not the case. All right. But with that said, church is a place that you can at least start to expand your social circle. I have advocated to become a sports official many times. The network that I have built from officiating, both purely in officiating and in other things that have nothing to do with officiating is limitless. When I started to officiate, it immediately put me into contact with hundreds of, and usually male individuals, 9 times out of 10, if not 9.5 times out of 10, male individuals who had their own professional lives outside of officiating. And immediately upon entering into a sport, becoming an official, I had access to those individuals. The gym, cigar lounge, many different places. If you can find a men's basketball league or a men's soccer league or something like that. Just these various uh, aspects of your life that can be hobby specific or something that you're pursuing professionally that have a high population of men that are actually doing something with their lives, and don't have a ton of females around to infiltrate that male social circle that you're trying to put yourself into. And again, as I said at the beginning of the video, it's not per se to build a friendship in the same way that women would build a friendship. It's kind of a combination of both. It's a brotherhood where it's part business, part uh, being a brother in arms, if you will. Okay. But the thing is that, in my opinion, your pursuit and you just getting started on the journey will lead to the things that he's talking about, because by you just challenging yourself and taking these steps forward, you're going to meet new people and you're going to start making these new introductions. The biggest thing, there's all these different aspects to how you can improve your life, but the biggest thing and the easiest thing is just to fucking start moving forward and start getting busy and just doing shit, just getting stuff done. Saying to yourself, I'm going to get this done, and this done. And you'd be surprised how much you can accomplish in such a short period of time, just a year's time, by putting yourself out there, by having the courage to put your name out there and reach out to people and ask questions. Ask, I'm interested in this. How do I get to that? How do I become this? Emailing, and you'd be surprised just how willing people are to give you assistance and give you help. And just by way of you taking those steps forward and just being busy and doing something, you will facilitate this social circle.
Will help you with easing the pain from being separated from your girlfriend.
Okay. And yeah, because it's, call me whatever, like they did already, but I just want to put this out there for the guys that are watching that normal, like average, like me, is you hear all this stuff on this podcast, like, yes, take it in very consideration, but doesn't mean you have to follow everything to the T. You're going to have faults and stuff like that. And one of them was, for me, is I can't handle being alone. Like, you guys are very strong, and I wish I was like you guys, Like, I don't know if you guys ever had that problem when you were on your road to success, but fuck, man, like, I don't mean to be a pussy, but I cry a lot, man, because, like, I be in the gym 11 o'clock at night, fucking putting in the work. I'm doing Muay Thai now, like, and, like, I have no one to celebrate it with, and it's just hard, man, and I see her posting, like, fucking a new guy, I'm trying not to be a little bitch about it, but it's just hard because I look to my left and right, I have nobody, and I had to cut my friends off because I had a mental breakdown, as guys.
Fuck, bro, that is so real what that kid just said right now. It really is. It really is, because that is the truth of the male existence right there. Exactly what he just said. Anytime you're a man, and I would actually say, yes, it's the male experience, but I would say more specifically, it is the experience of a man who is striving for success, for betterment of himself.
Guys, we all have those, right?
As Myron will say shortly.
With your boys, not your girls. And I agree with that. And fuck, man, the next morning I got made fun of. So I just.
And also, he commented about seeing his ex-girl posting photos and him being envious and shit like that. And that's the thing. Guys, get the fuck off of social media. If you can't handle it and you spend an inordinate amount of time on those things, looking on in envy, and it's not leading towards any sort of production or fulfillment of your goals, fucking cut it out. Be done. All right? Be done with it. But that's what I was talking about early in the video, is this kid is viewing her through his eyes like they're the same, but they're not. They're not. It's not that odd that she's able to leave the relationship with him and immediately still have this flourishing social circle. That is what women have. It just is what it fucking is. I don't know how else to say it. Women are nurturers. They are nesters. Okay. They facilitate social circles better. That's just the way it is. Men are the ones who are more lone wolf, more trekkers and individuals. All right. And if you are not a man who doesn't give a shit about his goals, or you're not a man who has already obtained his goals and are at a high level of success in life and have obtained the value that you sought to create, it is going to be a lonely time. It just is.
Stop hitting them up. And I don't want to just go out there and try to find new friends. I feel like the right thing would be they'll come as I focus on myself, right?
Well, no,
I agree. I do agree with him saying that they will come. Now, you do still need to make at least a slight effort, but I do tend to believe that they will just more naturally appear by your side as you continue this progress forward.
yo, man, you're gonna, bro. You need some hobbies, man. And the thing is, you need some hobbies, and then you got to meet guys that have similar mindsets to you, and also share those hobbies.
Yeah.
And then you need guys that are go-getters and winners, man. You because the thing is, I remember from if I remember from last time we spoke, you had a lot of degenerate behavior, drinking alcohol all the time, partying, shit like that. You can't be around people that do that shit all the time. You need to be around people that got their shit together, that want to make money, that want to be successful, and share interesting and productive hobbies, man.
Listen, caller, I'm proud of you. You keeping it real, but you know what you did that was very important? You did her a big favor and yourself. You let her go. That's huge, bro, because now you see what it feels like to be alone. Now, next time you meet a girl of value for you, you're going to do what? Appreciate her. But in the meantime, in your brotherhood, like what Myron said, and if you're not sure, get a hobby. Maybe in the gym, meet some gym bros as well. Maybe play a sport. Maybe even where you work. Find friends that have similar mindsets as you. For example,
and this is another
the work
reason
path.
too why like I don't want guys getting in serious relationships with girls until they're in their mid-30s, because what ends up happening when you have a girlfriend when you're young is you start to become soft, and you have this inability to be by yourself like you're experiencing right now. But if you had been through the masculine journey on your own from the beginning, and then you
I cannot tell you how many men I fucking know that to be the case. Unfortunately, I do agree with Myron on that. And unfortunately, it is a lot of Christian men as well, because they do, they're celibate. And so they, in order to finally get their nut, they enter into these relationships where they basically hand over everything to the woman because they're so eager to get that nut. And, they're still fucking 2 years removed from high school. And it's not just young guys that's the case. I mean, it's across the board, Now if you end up staying with that woman, I guess it's not too bad. But if you get divorced, it is, Myron's right. It is going to be tough because you're not going to know how to be on the grind alone and know how to just put your head down and be okay putting in the work on your own without anybody there to praise you, say good job, smack you in the ass, wet the whistle from time to time. When you're having a bad day or anything like that.
you found a girl, it'd be a lot easier to bring her into your life versus needing her in your life like your situation right now. So you're just going to have to suffer for a bit, my friend. The problem is that you've had way too much fun You've had way too much alcohol, way too much partying, etc., and now you're seeing what life is like being sober and working hard and doing it alone. And the journey to the mountaintop is almost always going to be by yourself. It's going to be lonely, and that's what it is. I mean, when I was in Texas, in Laredo,
I totally agree with what he said. Let's listen to that one more time.
Lonely, and that's what it is. I mean, when I was and doing it alone, and the journey to the mountaintop is almost always going to be by yourself. It's going to be lonely, and that's what it is. I mean, when I was in Texas, in Laredo, Texas, on the fucking border, right, and I was by myself, like I just accepted it. It is what it is. I just took that 4 to 5 years to really grind and become a man, and it's either going to make or break you, and trust me, you're going to get on the other side of this stronger. Yeah, it sucks in the beginning because you're just getting over a fresh breakup, but this is life, my friend. This is, as a man, you must suffer.
Caller,
that's just how it goes.
Here's some homework.
All right, so I'm going to end it there. For me, the reason why I think I'm so okay being alone as a man from time to time and for periods of time is because I've done it before, both as a young man, as a kid. I grew up, it was mainly just me and my father. My siblings were either in different states or were way younger than me. And so we weren't able to have that bond as siblings that a lot of siblings have. And then as an adult, when I got out of college and I was pursuing my graduate degree, I drove a semi truck. So I would be out on the road at the ripe age of 21, 22 years old at night working on my graduate degree online, and during the day driving a semi truck, and I was making good money. And honestly, it was a pretty nice gig for a kid my age, but it was very lonely, very, very lonely. There were guys who and hats off to them. I couldn't do this at the time. About a month, maybe a month and a half's time was the longest I could do. But there were guys who would stay out on the road for months at a time and wouldn't go home until 3-4 months on the road. They'd be out for 3-4 months and then they'd come home for about a week and then they'd go back out for another 4 months. So, but I can see why some men who haven't had the life that I have had would struggle with that. And that's why I'm making this video, is just simply to say that I completely agree with Myron that if you have goals for yourself, and especially if you're a young man or a man that's trying to turn your life around, the grind is going to be lonely. Even if you have a girlfriend, most of the time that's not the case, because if you want any sort of focus on what you're doing, it's very hard to maintain a relationship. It just is, unless the girl is totally different from most girls and is very supportive of you, like Nick Saban's wife, and is willing to put and devote every ounce of faith into you. They are going to desire and lust for your energy, for your attention, for your time. And the thing is, that relationship may not even work long term. And so all of it was for nothing when you could have just focused that same amount of time purely with a zoned in focus on what you were trying to achieve for that same period of time, and you'd be that much further ahead. So my thing is, I would rather know these truths about life. I know I jokingly say sometimes that ignorance really is bliss. And sometimes, you wish you didn't know the truth or had the red pill about things. But in the end, it is better to know the truth. I would always rather have all applicable information and proceed accordingly than to not know and move forward like a fucking idiot, like a loser. Okay. So that is just the truth. When you are on your grind, it's going to be lonely. And just in general, being a man is a very isolated, lonely existence. Even when you have a girlfriend, even when you have a wife, It just is, because ultimately there's a certain expectation that is laid at your feet by way of you being a man. And I know Western society has lifted some of the authority from men, but not the responsibility. I totally understand that. Myron says that all the time, that within Western society, men still have all the responsibility, but they don't have the same amount of authority. And I do understand that. But in the eyes of God, and if people are being honest with themselves, their natural inclination is towards that mindset, that they do place responsibility and authority at the feet of men. So anyways, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my video about Ron DeSantis dropping out of the Republican primary nomination and therefore the presidential race. And hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts are feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you, kings. See you guys next time. Christ is king. Peace.